This is Zach Meyer's education online presentation on NCAA Division I athletes and their education. My research question is, how does the student in the phrase student athlete continue to evolve? And one of the first things to look at is that the student athletes want more than just nice facilities. Now coaches must have more than great academics to lure their athletes in. A survey looked at some of the top reasons that athletes decide to attend a college, and the results are opportunity to play, reputation of the school and coach, academic factors, social life, television exposure, and the facilities. Also new to the student-athlete scene are tutoring centers. Now they're focused on providing required academic support for all athletes, and most universities are spending between 15 to 20 million on these centers. They also include plenty of technology to aid in the student-athlete's studies. So the NCAA has recently cracked down on poor academic performance, specifically looking at Temple football. The team lost a lot of scholarships following poor academic performance, and the NCAA will enforce the new rule which allows them to take away scholarships from poor academically performing schools. This is going to lead to an increase in academic support budgets for athletes by about 34%. Currently, the NCAA spends about $150 million per year for academic support. And according to former York College women's tennis coach Tammy Myers, she remembers a lot about the support from tutors, teammates, and professors in a quote. She says, "I know that there was a lot of support in the form of group tutors and also individual tutors. Also, the other teammates were a wealth of support to each other. The professors themselves always seemed to be willing to advise students of what type of support they could get. The key here is that the students did have to want the support and reach out to get it. It is not just handed to them." Also, Myers mentioned that a failure to maintain a C average would result in that athlete being benched or not being able to participate in team activities. The coaches would be informed of the grades of their students through weekly reports. New rules instituted by the NCAA prohibit tutors from typing papers for athletes and essentially doing the work for them. Myers added to this by saying, "We cannot put up with any type of cheating or altering of grades in order to allow any athlete to participate. Student athletes must maintain the minimum required credits and not drop out of any courses without notifying their respective coaching staff." Moving on and looking at the GSR, otherwise known as the graduation success rate. Recently there's been an increase in this, and football players in the FBS, which is the highest level of Division I football, those athletes are graduating with a 71% rate. In men's Division I basketball, African American men are graduating with a 68% rate. Both of these numbers are important because men's basketball and football are traditionally the lowest rates, so to see those on the rise is certainly a positive thing for Division I student athletes. Overall, all Division I student athletes are graduating with a rate of 81%, which is at an all-time high. To me, that's kind of scary because there's still that 19% of athletes that aren't graduating, and at the Division I level, that raises questions of, are they getting the help they needed, or are they just not taking care of the work themselves? With academic support, every student athlete is graduating with a higher graduation success rate than their peers, with the exception of white males. Everyone's making improvement but these white males, and it's important to figure out why that is. Policies have greatly improved and they impact many lives, which goes far beyond any statistic or any sport. The changes that the NCAA have made are very positive and focused on the student part more than the athlete, which is the most essential thing of athletics. In the future, the student-athlete experience is going to change because the National Labor Relations Board determined that Northwestern University's football players are now employees of the university. Basically, what this means is players may now form a union. That union is going to fight for better compensation for student-athletes, and it's important to note that that compensation is not going to be monetary. That's not what these athletes are looking to do. They're just looking for maybe some better academic support or some better meals or better rooms and just all around benefits that they could get through their experience. There's a popular belief that the NCAA makes too much money off of student athletes, their performance and their image. So that's really the driving force between these football players looking to get some sort of compensation in addition to what they already receive, which most of the time is a full scholarship. Lastly, there is the belief that there could be an affiliation with the professional team in the future of college athletics. I see this as being a stretch because that would essentially be making these college programs a form of a professional team, and that would mean that there would be some sort of salary involved. Although that's not what these student athletes are looking for, it's hard to say that that wouldn't happen, and that creates a whole boatload of problems, including Title IX, where we would now have to compensate female athletes just as much as we would male athletes. And I don't think there's too many people that believe that we should pay these student athletes, but then in addition pay these women athletes. They mainly want to pay the male athletes because of the March Madness tournament and the national championship for football, and how much revenue comes in from that through TV, advertising, and contracts. So the student athletes likely won't seek a salary, but they would like to get more benefits through this, including insurance. So basically, college athletics at the Division I level could become a developmental league for professional teams, which some could argue that that is already the case. But I really do see this as being a far-fetched idea, just because there's so many logistics that would have to work for this that simply can't. So the student athletes have definitely come a far way, and they certainly have better academic opportunities than they did in the past, and I continue to see a growth academically for all student athletes, not just at the Division I level, but throughout Division II and Division III.